You are watching a presentation of Soccer Night in Detroit.
Welcome. It's me, Hannah Crum, with two legends.
Okay, me, Steve.
And Mad Cat.
And that cat.
This guy right here. Every time you score, he has to play this song for you every time, every single time.
He appears. I believe in there.
Let's go.
All right. We didn't think we would need to do a Musings this week. However, the soccer world never stops. As you know. Especially, I mean, and this is soccer week in Detroit. Literally, as you know. I mean, we had the home opener on Saturday. We had the Open Cup game on Tuesday. Open Cup games going on later on this evening in Grand Blanc as Flint City takes on Forward Madison, a common opponent of Detroit City and us this year.
And then the women's tournament.
And, of course, the MASLW tournament, which takes place tomorrow.
I know.
So, busy week of stuff, and the news just keeps on, generating. Big shock that we found out on Tuesday was Louisville had Danny Cruz moves on to a assistance job with Minnesota United in MLS. Now, he was reportedly a candidate for the position of head coach over at Minnesota United. And, of course, the resume speaks for itself for Danny Cruz. Danny Cruz has won, ever since he started at Blue City since 2021, an Eastern Conference championship, couple of Players' Shield, best record in the Eastern Conference for who knows how long, except for maybe 1 year that Pittsburgh had it. But, he's had success. However, it hasn't translated into the playoffs, as we both know, as we all know.
I know. That was a shocker.
It came to a shock. It came as a shock to the system, to a club, but it was something that, like I said, it's been reported that it was reported in the that he was looking for was interested in the head coaching job at Minnesota United, and it ended up being that he ended up getting an assistant's job. And of course, being an assistant in MLS compared to being a head coach in the USL, it's a little that just strengthens your resume a little bit more.
You got that right. He's the second USL head coach to move on from the team. Mark Bridge, who was the head coach of Birmingham last year, was supposed to be the head coach of Birmingham this year, and then found a great opportunity to be the assistant at FC Dallas of that other league. So to have it 2 games in, another hot start, and then see you later.
It really didn't matter because, last night they came away with a 2-0 victory over Southern Indiana in the Open Cup. So, I mean, the real test is going to be obviously on the weekend, how it's going to translate and all that stuff, whether it be a bump, whether it be a loss. Yeah. But the new coach that is taking over for Danny Cruz.
Who will be happy to have taking over Louisville?
Last name of Bird. Let's see here. As I will type that in. But Bird led Lou City last night. So as I type it in, love this doing this on the fly here.
Literally.
Yeah. All right. So there we go.
I could,
Simon Bird is the new head coach for Lou City, taking over. Paulo Del Piccolo has become the first assistant over there. So it's like basically move it. The caricature or the characters move up a spot.
I see.
So, and he's being named an assistant coach. De Piccolo Del Piccolo is a former Lou City captain and the academy director. So, so
Well,
yeah.
let's see. Let's
Hey,
see what
best
happens.
and I'll tell you what about this. It's a you know what he just submitted a spot. He could come back to the USL and can get any job he wants now. Same with
Literally.
Mark Briggs. He's in that category. Him, Neil Collins over. He got a gig over in Sacramento after hitching off to Europe, and
For a
he got to get
season.
yeah, and then he got a gig back. So literally, it's just that if you have MLS attached to it, it garners, shall we say, it garners more prestige when you think about it. So I mean, he set himself for life.
You got that right. The new Birmingham coach also have an MLS experience as
Absolutely, I
well.
believe it was with I want to say, but then again, he was also brought down from the front office as well.
Yeah.
So like I said, you get that MLS coaching pedigree in there. It doesn't matter what you do in MLS, whether you're an assistant coach, whether you're a head coach, or whatever it is. You get that MLS pedigree. You're good as gold as far as getting jobs in U.S. soccer.
I understand that.
So I mean, good congratulations to and best wishes to Danny Cruz and Detroit City fans probably say good riddance to him because his record against Detroit City was a pretty damn good one if you ask if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Considering we upended him last year in the playoffs, though.
Hey, that and getting one on Bob Lilly in the playoffs as well as that's that's two pretty big shall we say writings or hangings on the wall there
Uh-huh.
in our trophy room. Even though they
I
aren't trophy, we don't get trophies for winning the first round over the Players Shield winner.
know.
We should.
Yeah. Speaking of which, can we move on? Because there is a big news update on a story we covered the weekend after it happened. Remember the AFCON game final between Senegal against Morocco? And
Yep.
that ended in a big dust up, literally, bigly, over a foul, penalty shot, protest, all that. We all thought Senegal won the, it happened on the field. Let's say this right now. It happened on the field. They won it. I can't remember the final score. Was it in PKs or anything like that?
Yes. I mean, well, actually, what happened was I believe Senegal came away with the victory in PKs, and
we were celebrating, but it ended in a huge controversy. Left fights in the
well,
stand
what
and
happened
fights in
was
the press room, for God's sake.
no, what happened was that the Senegal players walked off the field after a penalty was given to Morocco late in the match, and um, uh, Sane for Senegal started bringing the players back onto the field. At that point, though,
Okay.
they went and resumed the match. The penalty kick was taken, and
it was missed.
it was missed.
All that.
Yes, exactly. So on Tuesday,
Okay.
the Confederation of African Football, the CAF, overturned the result of the African Cup of Nations, stripping Senegal of the title and awarding it to Morocco as a 3-0 forfeit.
Wow. You ever heard overturn wrestling as a storyline in the wrestling where when they get too aggressive? Said, okay, religion reverse, but this was big.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the Senegal players left the pitch, for 17 minutes until Sadio Mane. I said Sane. It's Sadio Mane. I apologize for that. Sadio Mane called him back to the pitch, and they resumed play. Obviously, the penalty kick occurred, in which it was a miss, and then Senegal eventually won in extra time.
Uh-huh.
So the appeal board ruled that by leaving the field without the referee's authorization, Senegal violated Article 82 of the competition regulations, which mandates a forfeit in such instances.
Yeah, so I think the when they protest getting off themselves, may have thrown away their title.
Not so fast, because Senegal has responded to this.
Okay, what is Senegal saying about this one?
Okay, the Senegalese Football Federation has called the decision a travesty and is appealing the ruling to the CAS.
Oh my!
So they are getting an independent in there, and of course we all know what CAS did a few years ago with Manchester City after UEFA sanctioned them.
Uh-huh.
And
not pretty.
It turned out that Man City was allowed back into the competition.
Oh my!
So they are basically going to the CAA or going to the Court of Arbitration for Sport and claiming their case there. So we shall see what happens. This story is not over as of yet.
Uh-huh.
So, but the Senegalese government has called for an independent international investigation into basically, yeah, as I just mentioned there. So yeah, I mean, this story is not over yet. Stay tuned. There's more to come.
Yeah, who knows? More to come on this sticky story, literally.
Yes, literally and figuratively, indeed. So shall we say? And as I was mentioning, both teams in the upcoming World Cup in a couple months.
Yeah, the World Cup from hell, literally. That's what we've been nicknaming it.
Oh yes, and I mean, there's still fallout as far as that goes, and
but there could be good news because, according to reports early this week, the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, the one that tests players from the Olympic, could considering banning any U.S. official from attending the World Cup because of, can we say past dues? Huh?
Past dues such as
like fees to the organization, you know what I mean? So there's a potential that Taco Confetti will not interrupt the World Cup victory celebration like he did back last summer during the Club World Cup.
Oh, okay.
And this will also extend to the LA Olympics in 2028.
Interesting news indeed, for sure.
Interesting, yeah. So yes, whoever wins the World Cup will get to celebrate without any
interference.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, wasn't there a Qatari official at the one handing out the medals and whatnot?
Yes, I remember that story really well.
Yeah. So as far as officials go and all that, so who's going to hand out the medals?
I don't know.
We shall see what we shall see. So at least there's going to be no embarrassing moments.
Yeah, that was an embarrassing moment last summer.
Very embarrassing indeed. And I don't think FIFA wants a repeat of that. And I mean, they're good buddies. Maybe he's hey, Donald, you might want to set this one out.
Well, he can't help himself, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to help himself for the last 40 years.
Oh, brother.
Brother. As we all know. But needless to say, but there was something let's continue our worldwide trek here before we go into the next subject, which will tie into Sorry Not Sorry. So, the final has been set for the UEFA Champions League. I was a little bit bitter about the events that occurred on Tuesday regarding Manchester City, but I am over it now and hope they lose in the rest of the tournament.
I'm going to take a line out of Neil Rule. I thought this was but the best English crop of the entire to play in the championship. I was lied to. Only 2 teams have came out of the final 8. Arsenal and one other team, Liverpool, right?
Yes. Liverpool came back and defeated Galatasaray yesterday. So what was 6 is now 2.
Oh, brother. And everybody.
And there's 3 and there's 3 Spanish teams in the final 8.
I know, yes. Tottenham crash out. Man City crash out. They get crash out the minute they got their red card and left them 10 men. And no, brother,
Well, originally there was an offside call on the goal. That was disallowed. However, video showed that the goal was touched via hand by Bernardo Silva, and Silva ended up leaving the match.
Oh my!
Yep.
Oh my!
So originally they thought it was an offside call. VAR looked into it, and what ended up happening was they called the penalty. They disallowed the goal, called the penalty. Vinicius Jr. He's been a part of controversy as of late himself. Ends up scoring the goal. He ends up scoring another one in extra time, and that was all she wrote. 2-1 victory for Real Madrid. They win 5-1 on aggregate.
Yeah.
And thus they move on to meet Bayern Munich.
Which did their business by blasting Atlanta.
At Atlanta?
Yeah. The third most total goal difference in Championship League history.
And of course, we've been talking about Real Madrid with their injury issues and all that. Mbappe did not play in Tuesday's match, but we shall see what happens. I mean, those will be coming up in a couple weeks as well. Tottenham, they'll be taking on. Okay, I have to get the bracket out, but or not Tottenham. Tottenham lost their match. I'm sorry, I forgot. Why would I say Tottenham's moving on? Never mind.
The curse of Tottenham continues.
Oh God. Yeah. Igor Tudor is basically dead man walking at this point.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Will he make it to the game on Saturday?
Will he make it past the game on Saturday?
Interesting question.
Yeah, interesting question. Like I said, but yeah, going through here. So here's the rest of the quarterfinals that'll be taking place. PSG will be taking on Liverpool.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. Can Liverpool survive PSG? That's what we're going to be looking at here. Barcelona taking on Atletico Madrid, and Arsenal will take on Sporting Porto, who overturned their earlier matchup against Bodo Glimt in order to move on.
Honestly, I mentioned this. The most unsafe lead is a 2-0 victory in a single game. Now I'm beginning to rewrite it. It's 3-0 victory after leg 1.
Yeah. And, like I said, that's why they have 2 legs and all that. Imagine if they had the away goals.
Thank God. Oh, my God.
Yeah, imagine if the away goals still were counting and all this stuff. I'm glad they got rid of it personally. But
I know, because it's not a fair fight if you're saying, okay, you scored an extra goal, you move on. No need for a...
I think we've been burned. My club, Manchester City, has been burned by the away goals in the past.
I see.
So, I mean, I don't like that rule personally. Speaking of away goals helped last night in CONCACAF.
Yeah, they still use away goals in CONCACAF. Yes.
And of course, the anointed one scored his 900th goal last night in Nashville.
Are you talking about Messi?
Yes.
I know.
The anointed one.
900 overall career goals from Barcelona to
PSG to Miami, and yeah. However, the Pink Phony Club, by virtue of away goals, it didn't matter because Nashville ended up winning the tie or the
away goal.
Yep, they ended up winning on away goals.
Oh my!
Yep, so Nashville moves on in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, eliminating last year's. Well, no, they were semifinalists last year, and they lost to Vancouver.
That is a weird rule.
Yes, it is a weird rule, but it haunts Inter Miami. I mean, as a soccer fan, who I'm happy, for Nashville for moving on. Kudos to them.
I know. Okay.
Kudos to them.
Yeah, because and also a minor thing. Remember this boring CP against Bobo when they scored, when they did the extra time, the 30-minute extra time. They kept counting the game in progress. So it ended up with a 5-0 victory by Sporting CP, but they rule it 5-3 on aggregate for both goals. It's kind of a little weird.
It is a little weird. It is. And I think I want to say one tie in the quarterfinals. Did it end up going to extra time or something like that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Because they were even on aggregate or whatever it was, and one team ended up. I think it was Barcelona. It was Barcelona. Yeah,
Barcelona. Yes,
Barcelona against Newcastle.
I know.
So yeah, ended up going into extra time because of the aggregate score. So
I know.
But that's what happens, and when you're two-legged time, you're never out after the first leg.
Somebody mentioned that to Bobo Golem, and somebody give them the hug, literally.
Somebody needs to give them a hug or whatever it is. But
Neil
said, speaking of single game elimination tournaments.
Okay, I was about to finish. Go up 3-0 in League One. Lose 3-0 in League 2, allow 2 goals, and you're done.
Yes.
What do you do?
What do you do? But thankfully, the U.S. Open Cup is a single elimination tournament, and the only thing we have to deal with is it going into extra time and all that stuff. But interesting situation occurred last night, and of course, El Farolito. We all know El Farolito.
Yes, the Burrito Boys in the San Francisco, Oakland area, named after a taco stand.
Literally. Yes, indeed, and they've won some championships over the years. And last year they fell to Sacramento Republic in the Open Cup third round at Heart Health Park. The two teams meet again, this time in the first round. Proper.
Yeah, because they're a little bit different because of the World Cup, and they had to meet in round 1. And this game was a barn burner, except for extra time and the shenanigans.
And then, first, let me set this up for you from extra time. So in the 5th minute of play in extra time, Forster Ayago scores 5 minutes in to extra time to give Sacramento the lead at that point. And then he would score again in the 100th minute.
In the
122nd minute.
A big-time goalie mistake. He was kicking out of his goal net, was intercepted, and easy 2-0. Good night, Irene. It's over. Sacramento moved on. But
extracurricular activities started to occur. Following the second goal that was scored by Iago, apparently some taunting was going on from some of the Sacramento fans, from Sacramento supporters. Towards the El Farolito bench. Also, there was a player from Sacramento taunting as well.
Oh, brother.
Things would escalate. at the end,
Literally.
after the second goal, El Farolito's players moved over to let's just say, I wouldn't say it was a polite discussion.
No, it was
No.
arguing. Literally.
Yeah, it was not. It was not so much a polite discussion at all. Shoving occurred, obviously. Physicalities occurred. There were a couple red cards in that instance as well. Mark Anthony Kay. Originally, Mark Anthony Kay got red carded in the 120th minute. Or no, excuse me. I'm sorry. So Sakura Kipre in the 102nd minute got red carded for a hard foul, putting El Farolito down to 10 men. And then Mark Anthony Kay and Sebastian Yaber were red carded in the incident of following the match as well. And of course, it said the 7th minute stoppage time in extra time, but they pretty much I wouldn't say abandoned the match. They just called it at that point.
Yeah, that's called it because it was getting too heated, and they said, "All right, game over. Go to your locker rooms." They tried to go to their locker rooms, but guess what? There was more extracurricular activities. Literally,
From what was understood here, and before we go, okay, here we go. Malice at the Palace, part two, all that fun stuff. It was reported by an article I shared with you in independent reporter that some fans of El Farolito were being harassed, and of course and relatives of the El Farolito players were being harassed by Sacramento fans in the stands.
Oh, brother!
So the El Farolito players started going into the stands.
Oh, brother! Oh, brother!
And it escalated. And it escalated in the escalated in that portion here. Mission Local described the situation, and I shared this article with you earlier, and we talked about this.
Okay,
earlier.
I saw a couple of videos from what was recorded on the field.
Actually, which we just showed you as well. So none of it, but I'm scrolling down here, so but going into as I'm scrolling down here. All right, after the Sacramento. Okay, so going to the fight here. So after the Sacramento player taunted the El Farolito bench in the closing moments, and Yaber took exception, what came next lasted several minutes. A full brawl involving nearly every player on both sides, including those who have already left the field injured. Almost no one stood apart. One Sacramento staff member was among the first involved. Security came sprinting. Lopez walked away with his clothing torn. I would assume one of the, I think it was Rodrigo Lopez. Yaber received a red card. Game never restarted, but it filled into the stands. The fight shifted into the stands where the Farolito families were sitting. Several players climbed up to the field to reach them. And
very unfortunate.
Yeah. So what ended up happening, as I mentioned, players were climbing up into the bleachers to defend their families as a brawl broke out amongst the supporters.
I know.
That was after the final whistle. So it was basically they went up to the stands to protect their loved ones.
You're right, and like I said, their families should not be subject to this abuse, which is kind of unfortunate. So
yeah, and everybody was, and there's a reason why they separate sections from whatnot, and I'll allude back to November 20th, 2022, when Michigan Stars took on Detroit City FC at Romeo High School. And of
Yeah,
course,
in their farewell, yes, to the
yeah, the last waltz or whatever it was ended up being the Rumble in Romeo because owner George Yunkai went and assaulted a Detroit
man.
City supporter.
Oh yeah, and I saw a couple of videos of it. It was just
Yeah,
horrible.
following the match. So there's a
You're right.
reason. There's a reason heated rivalry. You separate sections of you separate the sections. And of course, we saw the instance of that last week with Celtic and Rangers. That
Yes,
the incident that occurred there.
that was more uglier than this happening. Oh my.
Yeah, I mean, just as bad and all that stuff. But and not to defend the El Farolito Pale, they were going up into the stands to protect their loved ones.
Yes, they were just protecting them from
However, this is a situation. I mean, it was heated of the moment and all that stuff. This is why you separate the fan bases. Okay, you separate the supporters group, and they had one grandstand, literally one grandstand for the
and if you
match.
notice on the hard camera, they were not any stands on the other side of the pitch. The one
No, there weren't.
No, they put them in one stand, which is
And they sat right behind the El Farolito bench.
I know.
So, but like I said, two wrongs don't make a right here, and we're kind of delving into this in the sorry not sorry. Let's just put the tagline up.
Okay.
Got a lot of problems with you people, and you're gonna hear about it.
Just brother.
All right, let's look at it in general here. Okay, first of all, Sacramento players should not have gone over there and started taunting them. The Sacramento fans, well, I mean, for some, you know what, we see that you see it every week at Keyworth. They always, they're taunting and all that stuff, but we're taunting from afar. Let's put it that way. We're taunting from afar. We're not going up. Yeah, we're not going above. Say like, for example, we're not going above Ben Pierman.
No.
And taunting him in the family section. They're taunting him in the support section. That's a different story.
No. Yeah, you're right. It's a different story. The family section, that's the family section. The supporter section is the supporter section, which is well policed by our compos and all that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And other supporters as well.
Yeah.
So, but,
we have the visiting fans who's on the far side of the train track on the other side. They will come and support their team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And, a little banner between, you're going to expect it. But here's the deal here, when you have fans, I guess what I was reading, there was something about a water bottle being tossed or whatever it was, I think.
Yeah.
But but like I said, the harassment could, is like they come to Santiago Lopez, the coach of El Farolito, said they came to mock us after the goal. And that was the initial confrontation. Sacramento player approached the Farolito bench to taunt them after the late second goal. And then, like I said, that just, that was the spark that was the match that lit the fire.
Mistake number one, taunting your opponent after the second goal, which was a miscue. Let's call it that. Mistake number two was on the fans, taunting them, calling them you lose, blah, blah, blah. Also,
fans are going to be fans and all that stuff. We know this.
You're right. Yeah.
But then it escalated to a point where the El Farolito players got involved and went into the stands. Yeah. Grant you, I don't condone players going into the stands.
No. We saw what happened nearly 20 years ago when that happened.
Yeah.
It was a black eye.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. We almost had, we basically had a Malice at the Palace situation last night.
Yeah, but it was not.
And if you're looking at it through a context,
yes.
If you're looking at it through a context, the thing was, if you're a neutral observer of the whole situation, you're thinking to myself, what are these El Farolito players doing in the stands? And then when you come to the reason being why they were in the stands,
to
it's to
protect
protect their family members that were watching the match themselves.
Yes, mind their own business, watching the game and ready to get out, and it got out of control. So
because of because of a few bad apples in the fan base for Sacramento.
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
And
yeah,
it just turned an ugly ending to what was a very good soccer match.
very good game, literally.
It just boggles my mind. I mean, I don't condone the El Ferrolito player. I mean, I condone the El Ferrolito players for doing that because you shouldn't go in the stands to begin with. However, on the other hand, I mean, what are you doing? This is why we have separate sections for away fans.
Yeah,
This is exactly why we have separate sections for away fans, so that incidents like this are refrained from happening.
yes, and you'll probably see the same thing when alumni field is set up. So
It's like that at all fields, I would assume. But you shouldn't have had. I'm sorry, you should not have had everybody in the one grandstand last night.
yeah,
You're gonna have those few bad apples harassing them during the match, and that's not cool.
no, not
That's
cool
not
at
cool
all.
at all. That's not cool at all. You know what? There's a reason why you have fan bases separate from each other. We have our own section. We have our own sections everywhere we go. They keep them separated from us. We're allowed to do cheer, scream, and all that stuff. Most of the time we don't get harassed. Maybe except for some Yahoo or some Karen that decided the F-bomb is very offensive to them. But other than that, but the thing is, they should have been separate. I mean, security should have separated them. In all honesty, last night, because as you know, players go up to the stands, and we see this, especially with the home folks, they'll go up to them, acknowledge the fans. There's the handshake line. You're aware of that. You're on the fence line. You know this. There's a lot of that going around, and sometimes even the away fans, if they notice the away people in their stands, they'll go up and applaud and all that fun stuff. But I mean, a situation like this was, it's got way out of control, way too fast.
Yes, uncalled for.
Yeah, totally uncalled for on all sides involved. If you ask me,
I know.
It's not just you can't put blame. You can't really put blame anywhere on this except that everybody that was involved. It was just a crappy ending to a great contest. And before I mean, everybody has shared the blame, and I think everybody shared the blame in all this.
You're right.
I do feel sorry for the supporters of the supporters and the relatives of the players on El Farolito who attended that match that got harassed.
I know.
And to the point where I mean, there was where the players of El Farolito had to go in the stands to shall we say keep the peace or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say allegedly because that probably was the case there, but. Given the example there, I mean, if you're watching the game as you saw the pictures, as I saw what happened, from what it was like, oh shoot, this is a malice in the palace situation. What the hell are these players doing in the stands? But when you take it in the context though of what happened, I don't say they had every right to go into the stands, but in a situation like that, when it's your relative that's being harassed or being attacked, what do you have to do?
Just get them out of the way. Or, as I like to say, which wasn't follow, go to the locker room. It's over. It's settled. It's done.
Exactly. And to like I said, very ugly scenes last night. And I hope, like I said, I'm not going to say like I said. I'm sure there's going to be ramifications from this.
Yes,
U.S.
punishment.
soccer is going to be looking at the tape immensely.
Yes, punishment. It's a coming, as they say on The Simpsons. Yeah,
Yeah, there's going to be punishment as far as that. 13 total infractions, 3 red cards in the whole melee.
I see. Okay.
So, like I said, discipline is coming for this. I'm sure fines are going to be held, are going to be given on this, and
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it was just ugly, and you don't want to see that happen. What I call for is personally, you know what? Don't put everybody on one side. First of all,
I agree. I
separate
agree.
them. Separate them.
Yeah,
Give them their own section.
I know.
They gave us our own section. They give us our own sections all the time. I mean, that's mandated in USL. They gave us our
Yeah.
own sections when we were in NISA as well.
Uh-huh.
You know,
But in competition,
with the exception of one bad Apple owner,
yeah.
everything was fine.
I was about to say, in an exception like this, you have to separate the fans. Kumbaya, enjoy the game. What happens, happens. You move on to the next game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, speaking of open cups, what was it like when you went to the Tin Can back in 2015? How separated?
Back in 2015, I'll say this again because we did mock them online because there was more fans for Detroit City FC other than the Michigan Bucks. You know what I mean? And and you also mentioned
And it's like, and it's a one-sided.
yes.
Yeah, it's a one-sided venue. It doesn't have two sides.
No, yeah, because you have the entire grandstand on one side, period. That's it.
Did they separate it by section?
You could say it's separated by section, yes, but if not many fans were going to show up for the Michigan Bucks, which is now the Flood City Bucks,
Yeah, so I mean,
and we also mentioned, did anybody advertise the game? It was advertised the game because we knew the date, you know what I mean? But did they advertise beyond Detroit City FC fans in the general committee? Some yes, some no,
Yeah, but like I said, it's up to the individual team to promote this event.
Uh-huh.
It always is,
Uh-huh.
and grant you from what I've seen, as well. And all right, got a second one. Got a second one.
Okay.
Where are your supporters? This
Good
is
question.
America's longest running soccer tournament. I'm not going to fault Indy. I'm not going to fault Detroit City because they had to play at indoor venues. I think they packed those places pretty well for for as much as the capacity that those venues had. But you look at, okay, where's the people in Sacramento? Where was the people in Louisville?
Yeah, their support section was not filled. Or was it?
Yeah, there were the supporter section. I think they left. There was you could count maybe 20, 30 people total.
Oh my!
I mean, I grant you, it's a midweek. It's hard to get in there. Games are at 7 o'clock at night. I'm sorry. I went to a Pistons game a couple weeks ago. That place was pretty packed for a Wednesday night.
I know.
And yeah, grant you
we got top 2 teams in the league at that time.
Exactly. This is America's oldest soccer tournament. Here's the complaint that we had about MLS fans not showing up. Remember, we had at least 600 faithful Detroit City fans going down to Chicago to see them play Chicago Fire. Other than the supporter section for the Chicago Fire, SeatGeek Stadium was a ghost town.
Oh my!
All right. And who amongst those were the ones that were, shall we say, very adamant about, everybody being in the cup? Who were those people? USL fans, USL League, where it be Championship, League One, League Two. all the all the like I said, the lower league, the amateur leagues like MPSL, USPL, or
Yeah,
UPSL.
Vermont Green had a sold-out crowd for their upset win against Portland Hearts of Pines.
Kudos to them for that.
Yes, it was well received. Well,
Yeah, when I'm
and
looking at when I'm looking at those pictures, from we got to do better. We got to do better. This is America's soccer tournament.
yes, which is take the model from the FA Cup everywhere else, like the German Cup, the Spanish Cup, and the FA Cup as well.
Yeah.
But is it serious enough? Except for a bunch of MLS teams.
We're not going to get it. The thing is, the U.S. Open Cup, you're not going to get many. You're not going to get many weekends with this competition, if any. But you have to treat it like it is. It is what it is. It is the biggest soccer tournament in the United States of America.
Yes,
let's
running
treat it that
for
way.
111 years, except for 2 years because.
And here's the deal here. You didn't have the excuse that these gays were, came all of a sudden. You didn't have that excuse. These games were determined months in advance. Mm-hmm. We knew our opponent months in advance. Mm-hmm. So, it's like I said, we as a support, we as supporters have to do better. I mean, this is a tournament, and this is why leagues like MLS will mock it and stuff. It's like, okay, it's not important. People don't, we lose money on that. This is how you lose money.
Come on.
If you don't have the fans showing up, fans got to do better at it. You got to show. I mean, you got to show up for this tournament. If you love this tournament so much, show up for it.
But remember when MLS decided to send 16 teams to one that year, and they said, "Oh, it's not that important." And then when we got to the quarterfinals, guess where it showed up? Apple TV. When they had that, remember the League Pass, which gets continued this year?
I don't think that has anything to do with it. It's just the fact that you're not getting the butts in the seats in this thing. That's the thing. I mean, it's nice to have the game. It's nice for U.S. Soccer to provide the games on YouTube. It's nice for Paramount Plus or CBS Paramount to add a couple games on there. I ended up watching, let's see, Union Omaha last night. I ended up watching that match on the Golazo Network and all that stuff. It's just the fact that, we got, like I said, we got to care about these games a little bit more. And that's, the beauty of the cup is there. The amateur side taking on the professional side. The beauty of the cup is there. We just got to be more, shall we say,
involved in it. Yeah,
exactly. We have to be. I hate to call on the fans on that, but bad look on TV when you're only seeing one side when you're seeing a empty grandstand and all the fans are on one side of the field.
I know.
For a very important event, and this, I feel this is a very important event. More important, it is a very important event, and it should be in that hierarchy. You go into the CONCACAF Champions Cup if you win the damn thing.
Yeah, but you have to show up.
The fans have to show up. Hopefully, we get to see better. Attendance in the second round of play, which is going to be happening in a couple weeks. So you'll find that. We'll find out soon. So, but yeah, we filled a good portion here. Impromptu musings is, like I said, the soccer never ends.
Tell me about it. It doesn't take a break. We learned that the hard way back in December, literally.
Oh yeah. That's we took a break, and news just stops piling up and piling up. I mean, we'll still take a break. I mean, we gotta take a break for the holidays, for God's sakes.
Yeah, you're right. But we have some soccer this weekend at the City Clubhouse with the MASL Durham, and don't forget, then they're playing, still scheduled for Saturday, against the Indy 11.
And it looks like I don't think anything's going to be standing in the way of that one.
Yes, you're right. Maxey will try to knock his record-breaking total to 6 or 5. Who knows? And hey, when you mention about he won that goal-scoring title, literally. And so happy to have him back, by the way.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It was a pleasure to interview. And a shout out to all those that took time out to be interviewed on Tuesday night as well. I mean, I'm very grateful for that. It was a fun night. It was a fun night in Brighton.
I know.
It was a
Okay.
fun night indeed in
All right.
Brighton for sure, for sure. So, we'll see you all weekend long from the clubhouse as we got a lot of soccer to finish out the week.
Sucker, pie, pie, pie. Don't forget, we'll be at the clubhouse if you need us. Literally.
Pies, pies, pies. Their smash
Yes.
burgers are pretty good too.
Oh, yes. I had one on Tuesday night, by the way.
Stock up on that Fago, my friend.
I know.
All righty, we'll see you from the clubhouse this weekend. For Steve over at Hamtramck.
Be good to everybody, and we'll see you for hopefully some soccer magic this weekend.
All right, and we will see you from the city clubhouse. Until then, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the galaxy, and most of all, be good.